So Neelam, first and foremost, thanks for coming on the show.
The pleasure is all mine.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on. And I've been following you for quite some time and a huge fan. And I'll tell you when
Wow.
it started for me.
What?
So one of the individuals that I follow,
Uh-huh.
Puff Daddy,
Oh, yeah.
Diddy. Yeah. So I'm following him and I'm watching. And all of a sudden I see a video that you had posted where you was just flowing and just spitting knowledge.
Aw,
Like, what was that moment like for you?
that was crazy. To be honest, like in the beginning, like I think that Diddy posted one of my first ever videos, and I had a lot of fear in the beginning of like sharing it.
Yeah.
I started out like doing poetry,
Okay.
and then randomly I was like, well, actually, like my husband and my peers was like, what if you put that to music? That might be dope. And I'm like, really? Okay. And then we did it. And naturally, I was like, this is weird. I've never done anything like this. What are people going to say? You know how you get where you care about people's opinions. But finally, I put my hands up and I was like, you know what? I stand by the message. I'm doing it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then just for us to put it out, and then Diddy posted it, and it got on the Shade Room, and it was just being shared by so many people. I was like, wow, all that fear was for nothing, and it was amazing. And that was like a great start of what I do now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I like to see like the microwavable success thing where people think that Instagram posts and all of a sudden it just happens like that. But I want to go all the way back kind of to the beginning with you in Seattle and making the move here to Los Angeles. What was that whole
Yeah.
process like for you?
Yeah, so I grew up in Seattle, Washington, which is a rainy city.
Yeah.
Even though my whole family's out there, I got love for Seattle, but it's rainy and that affects the mood sometimes. But my parents, they actually decided to separate. And so my mom wanted to make the move to LA, which I'm so glad she did. It's just funny how like things that happen in your life can be like devastating for you, but it's all a part of a plan that just makes your life come into order. Because I don't know what I would do if I was not in LA. Like I feel like I was born in Seattle, but I was made in LA. I've been
Yeah.
out here since '01, like
No doubt.
19 years, so yeah. But that was interesting because, we were kind of like, our family dynamic was kind of in turmoil because of our parents. I have 2 little sisters as well. So, we were going through that, but we came out here. It was kind of culture shock for me because when I came out, there's 2 types of LA. There's LA, which is like, oh, North Hollywood and Beverly.
You could just say Atlanta, the fake
South
people.
Central. No, I'm saying, but then there's LA where it's South Central.
Yeah.
And that's where I went. Like, we came from Seattle, Washington, which is like, like the school that I went to, there was like only a handful of Black people. Then I go to South Central and it's just Blacks and Mexicans. And I'm just like, whoa, I'm not used to this. And it was funny. I used to, people would be like, where are you from? You talk weird. And I'm like, really? I do? I don't know. But actually, there's a story too. Like one of my first weeks out here in California, I'm walking home from school with like a group of friends, and then there was like a group of cops coming, and one of the boys, he's like, hey, I need you to hold this for me because they're gonna frisk me. And I'm like, what? Hold what? This dude had a huge silver gun.
Oh, goodness.
No, literally put it in my hand. I was like, oh, like so scared. Another friend of mine took it, and she's like, oh, God, I'll hold it. And I'm like, where am I? What's going on? Like, what is life now? Like
0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah. It was really interesting. That was like a crazy dynamic I wasn't used to, I remember telling my mom, like, wow, it's really different here, Mom. But naturally, over time, you just get used to it. It's like, I don't know, it became really home. I love everybody. There's a lot of real ones in LA, particularly in like South Central. So I know people like to say, oh, LA is fake, but when you're in like the real like LA, like kind of bottom, there's like a lot of like dope people. So it was interesting being in that environment. But I, as far as like rapping like I am now, none of that was in view at all. Like I, honestly, my first video that Diddy posted, that was the first time I ever did it. Ever.
Really?
Yeah. So this was kind of like a random, like, whoa, now we're here. It happened really quick.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to get to that. But you're talking about the process of you coming here to Los Angeles from Seattle.
Yeah.
And you said you was responsible for a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
So your siblings,
Yeah.
taking care of them.
When my parents separated, I, you know, I believe that a lot of illnesses that come on us are, have to do with a lot of like our psychosomatic come from like traumas in your life, depression, stress, and all that. Because after that, my mom was diagnosed with, well, she was misdiagnosed with fibromyalgia, but it was really multiple sclerosis.
Wow.
So slowly, but, well, not really slowly. It was like in a matter of 2 years, she went from walking to in a wheelchair. And it was like gradual, like walking, cane, walker, wheelchair. And that was really hard for her because she's an ex-gymnast. So a person who can do backflips, who can't use their legs anymore, that's like very hard on her mind. I almost don't know what's worse for her, if it's the disease or just the depression from having the disease. You know what I'm saying? So naturally, as older sister, I had to take on a new load with my little sisters, like really like helping her out and helping out my mom because she's losing 70% of her body function.
Right in front of you in real time.
Yes. Yeah. So that was insane. And I'm the older sister. I'm an A-type person. I'm a Scorpio. So it's just like, okay, I'm doubling the burden, but I've always had that like, oh, we got to do what we got to do mindset. So it wasn't like that crazy, but naturally that's hard for a young girl to like, multitask all this. So that was very interesting. But I mean, now my mom currently stays with me because it got so bad, like we can't have her on her own. So she lives with me and I take care of her to this day, still grinding to, just get everything that she needs. And yeah, I'm sorry, I got lost.
No, it's interesting you say that because you're taking care of your siblings and then you're going through that whole process.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out, and for other people that you're inspiring out here, so many people from different walks of life, including my daughter Mia. Aww. She loves you dearly.
Hi, Mia.
Yeah. So like, how did you transition from that space, being a caregiver and taking care of your loved ones, to finding your passion and your niche?
Right. I would have to say, you know what? I would have to say, like, when I finally started, when I got married, started my own family, my husband actually was in a music group. They were called Anew, and they were on X Factor, and it was amazing. And I really supported him in, like, that journey. And they were actually, they were going to open up for the This Is It tour with Michael Jackson, and then he died. And that just changed the dynamics on absolutely everything that was going on naturally. And, like they continued to do everything with their career and stuff. But it's really weird. My husband, he actually was just like, I think you should do this. Like the very first, like I told you, I was writing the poetry, and then we were talking, and he was just like, you should put a beat to this, and you should. That was really honestly all his idea. And I'm like, are you serious? I should? He's like, no, I just think it would be dope. Like, I believe in you. You should do it. So a lot of that, like, switching it up that I did came from being, him seeing in me, like, no, I just really think you have a lot of talent that is just untapped, and let's work to do it. And he's, like, been really instrumental in, like, everything we're doing right now. It's crazy. Really weird.
Did all your confidence come from him, like, pushing you and telling you, like, you can really make this happen?
Yeah, because naturally I'm like nervous about doing something I've never done, and it's like, really? But yeah, he's just like, come on. We've been together almost 10 years. Well, we've been married for almost 10 years. Been together for, 12, So he's like, I know you. You got this. And it's like, yeah, okay. I believe you out of all people, so.
So the first person you performed in front of probably was him?
Yes.
That was crazy.
Yes.
So just like breaking down lyrics and just talking and vibing.
Right.
Like, what did you see? Like, I got to ask you, like, what did you see in her? Like, just.
I think for what I saw in her is, first thing is anything she puts her mind to, she conquers it. So that's just the main thing. At that time, she was already online. She had got about, back then it was big to have 10,000 followers on Instagram. That was from her just doing modest fashion.
Right.
So it was just with the following she was already getting, It was like, well, what's your perspective? Because she had, in her story, she would have all these stories about Black Lives Matter, about issues happening, and then on her page she would have her in this fashion that was like, and people. So it was like two different crowds.
Yeah.
And the idea was, how do we bring that together? You could look good, but talk about the things you put in your story, and the things that you got in your poetry, and those together are going to be crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that, like with your fashion, like so modest fashion. What is that? Like, can you explain that to us?
Gosh, you know what? I feel like modest fashion is like relative. It's whatever you define it as, honestly, because there's people who have rules of like, no, modest fashion, you're supposed to have this or that. You can't. But it's like, I don't know. I looked up the word like modesty, and it's like, God, I can't even remember the exact definition, but it was like, to cover or carry. It's not even based off how you look. It's like how you are, like how you carry yourself and stuff like that. So, I mean, modest fashion sticks out because it's like almost like a faux pas and like what's going on in mainstream right now. It's like, whoa, you're wearing a lot of clothes,
Yeah.
compared to like what people usually wear. And I don't know. I just think it's dope. I'm a firm believer in that a woman should be able to do whatever she wants. If you want to walk outside in a bikini, no one should have anything to say. If you want to walk outside in a burqa, no one should have anything to say. You do what you want. And I don't know. I just fell in love with modest fashion, and even like with like hijab and covering my hair. Like I've only been doing that for 2 years. And one day I was like looking through, it was Muslims Women's Day.
Okay.
And I was looking through the hashtag, and I was looking at so many beautiful women and girls. I'm like, oh my God, they're slaying modestly. I'm like, I'm inspired. I want to do that too. And then I was like, and as I'm switching it up to do it, I would like to portray myself online in this way because maybe I can inspire other girls too, and yeah, like all the DMs and the messages that I've gotten over time have been like so amazing. Like people, because I didn't like erase like my old pictures. I like let you like follow the whole journey of like my whole like
process.
evolution. So people are like, whoa, I thought like to watch just your whole switch up is just really inspiring, and and I just think it's really dope. Especially like I usually go into spaces where I'm like the only one that looks like I do, as far as like what I'm wearing and how I look. And there's girls who are like, I usually feel uncomfortable like being the one who has to, dress like this or cover my hair. But to see you in these spaces doing what you do and standing firmly and being authentic and just like loving who you are, that's so inspiring for me, and it gives me more confidence. I'm like messages like that mean everything to me. And I totally understand because, like representation matters, and of course inclusivity and diversity. So to be able to see someone that looks like you in different spaces, like how like Halima Aden, she was on the cover of Essence, and that was just like such a big win for like all the Muslim girls and like girls who, dress modestly, to just see her on the cover. It's like, oh my God, like we've never seen that, even how she did, freaking, what is it? The swim. She was the first.
I know what you're talking about.
It's the hugest swim. Yeah, Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
She was the first girl to wear a bikini on Sports Illustrated, which is like, that was literally a historic moment. So just little wins like that are always like amazing. So even like I got a million messages when I was on the BET Cypher because they were like, wow, we've never seen like a female rapper looking like you who ever got to do the Cypher, So just like wins like that are just amazing.
Here on the Tuff Juice podcast, we know the importance of LinkedIn. The perfect hire can have a huge impact on your business for years to come. So when you're in need to find that next person to help your business grow, LinkedIn Jobs will match up the right talent on your open role fast, quick, in a hurry. Please explore the LinkedIn job platforms. What features on LinkedIn Jobs platform you think are most valuable for the people looking for a hire? How does LinkedIn Jobs help you find the right candidate? LinkedIn Jobs has over 675 members worldwide. LinkedIn Jobs screen candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for, so you can hire the right person fast. Things like collaboration, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skills and puts your posts right in front of qualified candidates who matched up the business requirements perfectly. That's how LinkedIn makes sure your job post is seen by people who you want to hire. People with the skills, qualifications, and other interests that will help your business grow. It's no wonder why LinkedIn hires every 8 seconds on LinkedIn, and why companies rated LinkedIn Jobs the #1 hiring platform in delivering quality hires. This is what it is. Find the right person in your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/toughjuice. Again, that's linkedin.com/toughjuice for $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions apply. Look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah. So consciously, like you going into that space, do you make it point of emphasis to like show all your creativity and put it all rolled in one, or are you, I don't want to say limited when you do something like that, or are you okay with that
Say it
being what
again?
it is? Do you feel limited when you do that? Because so many people, like from a mainstream standpoint, you might scare someone off.
Right.
Like
right.
it's like it's a thin line when you're selling.
Right.
You're still selling records.
Yeah.
You're still selling a message.
Right.
Or preaching or whatever the case may be, planting a seed. But are you limited when you be too real or too authentic or too conscious or too aware?
Right. Naturally, I feel like, yeah, that's not mainstream. It's completely like faux pas. So there will always be like a little bit of resistance.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I've been extremely shocked by just
The acceptance.
yeah, like
It's been crazy.
people from all walks of life. It's so beautiful. Have been really receptive to the messages, just everything, and they're just like, "You're so dope." Someone told me like there's like a void that you're feeling, and then just like I say, like I feel like women are like the most dynamic creatures on the planet. However, like in female hip hop mainstream in particular, there's like almost like only one type of thing being pushed. And I just feel like there should be more of a balance, more dynamic. Back in the day, I used to be able to listen to Lil Kim and Lauryn Hill. You know what I'm saying? It was dope. It's like I banged both of them. Like but you know, just bringing back that there's so many voices and dynamics to women, and it's like, you know, why are we only getting one certain type of, you know? And no knock to that, because that's a mood and that's an important voice, but it's like there's other voices, so why can't we have some of that? You know?
How are you able to move the needle on that then? I know strategically, I know it is a process, right?
Yeah.
Because it looks a certain way, it sounds different, and some people just, you know what I mean? Like they can't accept it or receive it.
Right.
So how are you able to balance that? Because you do a great job of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do. Like I follow you in real time and I'm watching, so like how do you balance that?
Honestly, it's like every day is just a process of just regardless of the numbers or what people say, being true to yourself, being authentic, and just believing in your message and standing by it and just going regardless of any accolades or anything that someone can give you. It's not about that. It's like a bigger picture, and you just do you. I'm like a big advocate of do you. Like, do you. Whatever you want to do it, and we shouldn't be like on each other's head about what you do or what you do. It's like, let people just be. And yeah, so I just have to, you know what? I live my life with no expectations. So anything extra is
It's a win.
Extra. It's a win. Yeah. And it's like, yay, you know? So yeah, that's just how I like striving to roll through life, because naturally something so different when you're making a lane that doesn't exist, that is a trial, you know, and that's not easy and it's hard, but you just have to be steadfast, keep going, and regardless, just, if you believe in it, you just do it.
Who's been some of your mentors in this space? I know that you said that your husband pushed you and do certain things, but like who else been some of your mentors in this space?
Well, you know, I met Erykah Badu at the BET Cypher. Well, first, you know, she posted me on her page.
I wasn't gonna say that, but I just didn't want to throw it out there and just, you know, just put it on you like that. But I'm glad you said it.
So she posted me on her page, and I was just like, oh my God, you know. And then I got called about the Cypher. I did not know that she was gonna be the DJ of the Cypher. So when she came walking in, I'm like, what? How? What? So
what is this?
Yeah, literally. And then so I have this like, no, it's not my model, but it's a model that we all know that the answer is always no, unless if you don't ask. So just ask, because you don't lose anything if they say no, because, you know, it's whatever. Or you could gain a yes that you weren't expecting. So I had asked her, I'm like, hey, I have an idea for a music video. Could you be in it? Like, I have this whole idea. Da, da, da. And she was like, yeah, sure. And I'm like,
That just like that.
no, yes. And
Erykah
I was like,
Badu. This.
I was like, are you sure? But you know, me, I'm like, people say a lot of things, but it's like, I'll believe it when I see it. Because,
Yeah.
you know, everybody was like, oh, we're going to do this. But it's like, until you come through with it, we'll see. But she did. And so she was in my video for I'll Be the King. And she was, you know, like meeting people you follow and you hope that they live up to like what you think. Like sometimes you meet people and it's like, ugh, they were so whack. I almost wish I didn't meet you because now I'm like, you've changed it. Or you meet someone and it's like, wow, they're even better in person. And she was that type of person where it was like, wow, you're really dope. She came in and she literally came in with like bags and stuff. She like decorated the set, which is like, I didn't ask you to do
crazy.
that. And it was so dope and just her ideas and stuff. And but like she just gave me a lot of motivation and she was like, you know, do you like she's real, she doesn't say a lot of words, but she's like, do you regardless, no matter what, you know, and stuff like that. Just like, it's really inspiring. I've met with Diddy and he's, you know, he's real adamant of like, you know,
animated. Yeah.
exactly. So he's always giving me encouraging words that you know, has also helped me to go forward. Honestly, I'm also inspired by like, you know, just people, underdogs, people who are different, who are just like making their way, like, and that could be in anything. It's like, it could be like, you know, like Ibtihaj being a fencer, and it's just like, wow, like, I'm not gonna be a fencer, but just the fact that you fought through that and you're just, you know, you made it to gold medal, it's like, that's amazing. So I get inspired by wins and moments that I see and observe from other people, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in real time, like I know we had like a State of the Union last night, and I know that you're always consciously aware of what's happening, what's going on, and you very insightful in your lyrics. Where do you feel like we are at right now, the climate of our country?
This is weird, but I'm honestly really disconnected from,
You and me both.
yeah. Like from like the whole politics and the this, that, and the other. Like, it looks like it's like a clown show. It's like a reality TV show. It's like some of the things I see, I'm like, is this really, you know? So to be honest, I'm like, like I'm not really invested at all. Whatever's gonna happen is already gonna happen, and yeah, like I'm weirdly very disconnected from like politics and everything that's going on, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you still maximize your platform and use your voice to make people aware of things that's happening that you're, you know, that bother you? Like for instance, like mass incarceration was something that was always dear to my heart, and you know, I try to use my platform as much as possible to, you know, change some things.
Right.
You know, and I see you doing the same thing and making people consciously aware by waking them up through your lyrics.
Right.
So how do you maximize that?
Yeah. Like thank you for saying that. Like, you know, naturally you'll feel weird about like speaking on issues that are
secret meetings.
Yes, exactly. Or people are gonna be like, well, you know, but like I said, I always like, I'm always nervous before I put something out.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's just, it's funny. The other day I was saying, it's like, it's your art, it's your baby, and just like, you don't want people to be like, your baby's ugly, or you know, or don't judge my baby. You know what I'm saying? So naturally,
that's funny you say that, because I used to be nervous before basketball games, and I know this is what I do, but I just I don't know. I knew I wasn't gonna get buckets, but I was just nervous.
It's just a natural feeling when you're doing something that you know that other people are gonna observe. Yeah. You know, so I'll feel a little nervous, but then like I said, I'll put my hands up and I'm like, I stand by this message, so I don't care. And then then a calm comes over me and I'm like, post. You know, so yeah, I think it's important to, I feel like music should reflect the times that we're in. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, now, like, music is about what? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what? It's, like, about nothing. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or it's random, or, like, I can't even understand you. Shot at mumble rap and stuff like that. And yeah, I just feel like, what's going on in the world, you know, we should be able to go back in time and hear the music at that time and like kind of even get a little sense of like, oh, what was happening at this time. And I feel like that's important. So I always like to speak on things that are going on and issues and, give perspective on how I feel on things. I just feel like that's very important. And like I said, it's like as far as the audience, your opinion is you either rock with it or not, but it is what it is.
I have to ask you, like, when did you convert to Islam?
Oh, so it's funny you say that. I grew up Christian and not Christian like, like the people who only go to church on Easter Sunday and the whole year you weren't even there. It's like, no, I was at, in the church.
So you just shot me down right out the gate.
Sorry. I know a lot, but, and my family till this day, they have churches and everything. So I have a lot of love naturally because that's us. There's so many people, naturally, anyone who are the descendants of slaves, a lot of the people in the holds of those slave ships came over here and, we were given Christianity, we were given a certain everything, our eating, we ate the worst of everything, that's when, hog was really even introduced to us and just certain things. And, my father, he kind of had like Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X moment where, like you start doing research and just realizing like, wow, going back, I'm realizing that a lot of my family or a lot of us in those holds of slaves were in fact Muslim and blah, blah, blah. But he, the cool thing about him, he was like, I think it's important for you to do your own research. I'm not like, I don't want any compulsion or like forcing anything on you. You do what you want to do. I'm going to do this. He was the one who converted first, and he's like, I just kind of he fell in love with Islam, and I just kind of like did my own research. To be honest, I went on a journey of like through all religions, like, because I find that there's like the religious game banging that goes on is man-made.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the religions are really connected. They're, I mean, if you believe in that, there is one God. There's not these different gods that we think. And a lot of, like, the practices and everything are very similar. Like,
Very.
You know what I'm saying? So doing a lot of research, I was like, wow, this is, enlightening and beautiful going through, I went through a lot of places. I went through temples and this and that. I went to different masjids and mosques and everywhere, and I just fell in love with Islam in general, and I just thought it was a good fit for me, and Was
that a process of like years of you visiting temples and different things, like where?
Yeah, it was. Like, I just feel like I don't want to be a blind follower of anything. I feel like it's important to like know what you're doing and why you're doing it. A lot of people, even like, our parents, I've even met Muslims who like, I don't even know why I do this certain thing. My parents made me do it since I was there, and it's like, wow, you have me as a convert. I have a little bit more knowledge about what and why because I had to research about it. I didn't know about it, but you were born in it. So you're just like, oh, I just do things low-key blindly. You know what I'm saying? Without really knowing why. So I think it's always important to know why you do what you do or why you believe how you believe and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that was interesting. I was like 15 years old. God, I don't know when that was. Yeah, I think I was like 15 years old when it was first introduced to me, but when I fully went like, oh, I'm going to do this, it was 2007.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then, like I said, I've only been wearing like and covering my hair and doing hijab for 2 years because that even was a process for me. Like, oh, I'm not ready to do that. And that a lot of people don't know, like, women are not forced to do that. That's just a choice that you want to do if you want to or not. It doesn't make you less or more of a Muslim, wearing that, so.
In some areas.
Well, yeah, we can't deny like the cultural things that are going, but that's not necessarily.
So some areas they impose it?
Oh, absolutely. But that's like in Saudi Arabia, they're just now being able to drive. Like, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a cultural thing. That's not an Islamic thing. And sometimes the lines are blurred and we think that that's the same thing. Just like, it's funny, there's a saying in Islam, it's like one ummah, which means like everybody is one, no matter where you're from, but we say there's no racism in Islam, but there's racism amongst Muslims. That exists, you know, but that's a person thing. There's no oppression in Islam, but there's women who are oppressed in Islam by certain Muslims because of a cultural thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like that is actually contrary to Islam. Certain things that happen and are done culturally that are not really. I hope I'm saying it right. I don't. But
Make a
that
lot
are
of
not
sense.
related to like real Islam. Like that's wrong. You know? Yeah.
So were you hesitant to like speak on that or just say that you was Islam or what?
To be honest, I usually don't like to talk religion because I feel like religion does more dividing than
Does.
unifying. And I feel like it's beautiful that like my following is so diverse because it's like people from every walk of life, and it's like, wow, I'm this Muslim girl, and like, you follow me, you, and you, and you. But it's because like we have so much in common, especially just as a human being, and like certain. Like I said, I did a lot of research. A lot of people will like won't go outside the box of their religion that they were given since they were birth. So you don't really realize the connection that they all have. So naturally, you'll look at everybody like, oh, well, you're not like me, or you're not like me. And we put all these like titles in front of us that divide us, and it's dumb to me. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, like I tend to not like to talk about religion because, like I said, I just feel like it's honestly, in a sense, I feel like it's done a lot of harm more than good. If you're not thinking of your personal life, like people who are like, oh, you know, it makes me a better person, and you act actively on being a better person to the world. But some people are just, like I said, that religious game banging that we do, that's all man-made, and I hate that.
You make it look cool though. You know what I mean? Like some people are frightened by like real information, you know, and being educated.
Yeah.
And then, you know, to your point, and to your credit also, you make it look really cool.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like when you follow, you're like, you know what? I've taken that a little lighter by being educated.
Right.
Like it's just a little more receiving.
Right.
The way you go about it.
And it's
if
funny that
makes
you
any
said the
sense.
word educated because that hate and that weird stuff that we go through is literally from ignorance and the lack of knowing what's going on or what you're even opposing. I feel like that's the reason why we get weird with one another. It's that ignorance. So, yeah.
How do you go about the process of, we talked about secret means, how do you go about the process of creating an album or a song or, like, I know it's layers to it, but how do you go about that process?
It's, for me, it starts with the beat. My second project, Different EP that just came out. Yeah. It was produced by, thank you. Yeah. It was produced by Beat Billionaire, and he's like Grammy nominated. He's known for like doing Rick Ross's beats and like, except for there's just a lot. And he was really like making magic. Like I was listening to the beats and it's like, oh, that one. So then like once I have it, I kind of just like zone out with it. Like, shoot, the shower is an amazing place.
The shower, just vibe.
Yes. And, you know, it's weird. Like, a song can happen in freaking 30 minutes or it can be like 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on what's going on. And I'm horrible. Like, I will redo something, like, a lot. Like, 2 days before my EP dropped, I literally changed the whole verse on the song. Like, and they were, like, so annoyed with me. I'm like, no, I don't like it. And I literally redid it. And so, I'm really random. It's annoying. One of my songs, Enough, which is like analytically, it's looking like it's the people's fave. One of the people's faves. My husband, he wrote the chorus of that, and it's like one of my favorite parts of it. So, you know, I don't do, like I said, we're like one. I present it like, what do you think? What do you think? You know what I'm saying? And until it's like, oh, that's dope. Then I'm like, okay, we're good.
So you got to get the stamp.
Period.
Period. Dot.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to get the stamp from him
Yes.
at the end.
Yes.
So ultimately, like with your legacy and what you're trying to accomplish, like what are you trying to accomplish? Like what is your vision?
My vision is, like I said about bringing in a different representation and a balance and a different perspective to mainstream, well, for me, hip hop, but just even just the music industry or just the culture in general. Something different. It's funny, that's why I named it different. Yeah, but it's just like, I think it's important to have something different, you know, and just a balance, because it's not, I don't want everything to be like me or everything to be like, but it's just like, you know, why not have a little piece of something different in, you know, the forefront? And if my legacy, you know, it would be dope if I keep going for my dreams and, you know, I really make it really big in this music industry, bringing in a whole different dynamic to female rap and hip hop in general.
I have to ask you, and that's a great answer too. I have to ask you though, with your vision board, can you talk about the process of that? Because so many young listeners and older listeners and different people from all different walks of life are going to hear this and see this. And why is it important for you to speak things into existence? Because you had me on that one too.
Thank you. There's just so much power in our words. And so speaking things that you want and you dream of into existence is imperative, you know? And just speaking positivity. It's also really important, like when you see someone get something that you want or like have a win, to really get inspired instead of like jealous or upset at them. Like, I see people winning everywhere and it just makes me so inspired. Like, oh my God, they got that. And, you know, people coming from the mud, people who have nothing, who have just made so much, especially nowadays, you know, with these platforms and social media, you really can cut out like the middleman and like really get to an audience without, you know, that much control. And what people have done with that is just absolutely amazing. And it's like, it's just so inspiring. So speaking into existence, like just things that I want, or seeing like, oh my God, she got that. Oh my God, I'm going to get that, you know? And I just feel like it's important, you know? Yeah.
Why was it important for you to come on board with Roc Nation? Like, how did that relationship happen?
You know what? So I'm just with Roc Nation management.
Okay.
I still don't have a label. I'm still independent. But they approached me and they seen the vision in what I was doing. And, you know, it's really important that the people that you work with, they don't want to like change you or like hinder your message. You know, like they're just like, oh, we just want to support you. And that's dope. And so I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, I've gotten opportunities with them. You know, and I want to naturally take everything that I can to the next level and reach more people and, you know, do more. So any help from anyone that I can get, naturally I would want that. If it doesn't hinder or affect, you know, like my vision and what I have going on. So, yeah.
Do you prefer to be independent or do you want to be under big label?
I like being independent because of the control. Naturally, it's funny, there's this rapper that I follow, Lady London, I love her.
Okay.
She made a statement that like really touched me, but she was saying like, you know, naturally I want to go on an elevator up. But, you know, taking the stairs, sometimes you got to do that in order to keep your integrity and keep what you got going on. I mean, naturally I would prefer, she said, escalator up, you know, naturally, but, you know, like if you just have a vision for what you want, and if you get with someone and they're not like, I mean, if you're on board with me, hey, let's work. But if you're not, you know, I know it would be easier for me to be with you, but we don't have the same vision, so that just doesn't work for me. So I'm gonna have to just keep taking these stairs until maybe I meet somebody who's like, hey, get on the elevator with me, we good, you know? But until that happens, I'm cool with being independent because I gotta be, and you gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
No doubt. So you going on tour soon?
Yes. Yeah.
So that is coming up, and I know
that.
you're going to announce that on your platform sometime soon.
Yes, but the
you
first show.
Okay.
Yeah, the first show is in Detroit. on February 22nd, Saturday, and I'm excited about that. It's so funny because I have, I'm a LA girl, but the East Coast, like New York, Philly, pretty much the East Coast in general, even Atlanta and London. London weirdly is like crazy. Like I have a lot of love there. And analytically, LA is in my top 5 as far as like my following and listening, but it doesn't even compare to like the East Coast, which is so interesting. I'm like, wow, so, yeah, you follow the love, you go where your people are, and it's like, hey, I'm coming, and with my first EP, I didn't, that was one thing I didn't do. I didn't tour it. And so now that I dropped this other one, I was like, it's important for me to do that. So I'm excited about that. Take it to the next set, perform it, and a lot of people are requesting it. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. So the kickoff will be in Detroit.
That's gonna be major.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I have to ask you this before I let you go. What was the best piece of advice that you've ever received? Life advice or industry or whatever? And from whom?
Now I know what the advice is. Now I'm trying to figure out who said it to me. I think it was my mom. Yeah, before she was sick. But don't be so hard on yourself. That really was for me because I am very hard on myself, and it's so annoying, and it's like I'm like my worst critic, and it just sucks, So the moment I embrace that, like, you know what? Don't be hard on yourself. So anything that happens, it's like, it'll work out. And I say that all the time. It's like, it'll always work out. Like, something bad could really happen. I'll get some news and I'm like, it'll work out. So, and discipline your disappointments.
Oh, wow.
That one is really good for me because, like, stuff used to happen. I used to be like, oh, God. But now it's like, okay, you could get a little upset. Now get over it and move on. Because, like, you have no control over it. So why even, like, waste that much energy in something you can't control? And then in the end, it ends up working out or being okay, or you get over it. So those have been really good advice that I'm still striving every day to live by, but they really help.
That's major.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on the Tuff Juice podcast. Thank you, Queen.
Thank you.